EJZ. KB3 EJZ. KB3 EJZ.
Hello, hello. N1DVL, anybody here? Hello, radio from N1, Delta Victor Lima. Delta Victor Lima. Anybody around? Hello, is that you, Tim?
I'm sorry,
Yeah, okay. I couldn't hear you at first.
Yeah. Hold on. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, sounds like you're breaking up to me. You keep on breaking up. Yeah, what was that? Hello, say something. Hello, radio. God, it's 8 o'clock. Is somebody in here or not? 8 o'clock. Everybody should be in here. N1.
Where the heck have you been?
What do you mean, where have I been? I've been in here for 5 minutes now.
Well, I was here. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I've been calling and calling. Like, you didn't hear me calling for the last 3 or 4 minutes?
Were you on low power?
I'm on 100 watts right now.
Well, I had the squelch way up to knock off the buzz and the RF gain down, but you're still 20 over.
Okay, well, now I'm at high power.
You just went to 40 over?
Okay, well, I'm here. So do you know how to build a goniometer?
A gonadometer? No.
Well, that's what we got to figure out, because this morning, it came to me, just this morning, I was laying in bed around 7 o'clock, and it came to me. My antenna would be perfect for that. 2 feed lines, and you just run the 2 antennas through the whatever it is, and it should work great.
Yeah, it would work great. I have literature on it, maybe. In fact, I got a book right here. Let's see if it's in the index. Goniometer. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, but I don't know any better. B, C, D, E, F, G. Gamma rays. Goniometer. I found it. It's on page T12 and 14. Let me see if I can find that, Ray.
Yeah, I want to buy one and screw it to my antenna, and I'll bet it would work great.
You have to build it.
Well, maybe I could build one.
I don't understand. Oh, this is section HIJK LMNOPQRS LMNOP. This book, by the way, was written in 1938.
How do you like that? Pretty interesting, huh?
I don't read anything that's much newer than that, to be quite frank.
It's truly amazing. They knew all about this stuff back then.
What page did I say it was? T what?
I have no idea.
You're as bad as I am.
Oh, I really didn't pay attention.
You know, I pay attention and I still forget. I have numbers. I'm reading 2 meters, right? I'm reading amps and volts on 2 meters. And I can't, and then I'm holding probes in my hand and I have to shut off the DC supply, and I tell myself, okay, it's this and this. It's 59 milliamps and 12 volts, and I can't remember 5 seconds later what the hell I said.
I know. It's terrible.
Screen. Goniometer. Cross loop aerial. Let's see. Cross loop aerials are Bellini Torsi direction finders. See, they were used in direction finders. The goniometer in a ship. They used them on ships. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like there's 4 fixed coils, and then one that rotates inside that structure. So the 4, it's built around a box. It looks like it's pretty easy to make. But then again, you've got impedance matching issues and all that stuff. So it might be a nightmare to make. Who knows?
Well, if there's 6 coils, that probably meant there was 6 antennas.
No. They're connected in... So there's a center coil that turns, right? So its relationship changes to the other 4. Now there are 2 in the same plane and 2 in the 90 degree. So there's a wire out going to the search coil. And the other 2 windings, so it comes down to 3 windings because the 2 that are parallel are in series. I mean, the two running in the same axis, like north and south, would be in series, and the 2 running east and west are in series. It's a 6-wire device.
Do they give you any idea on formula? Because I mean, it must change by frequency, doesn't it?
And the coil impedances and all that stuff have to be matched up to where you're at.
I still think that's the hot setup for the 160 guys.
Yeah, it would be cool to try it. This has a pointer on it, so it's for direction finding.
Yeah, as you rotate the antenna through the directions, it's going to have a front to back, and it's going to have gain and everything else. Did they give you some idea what they use for an antenna?
It talks about a search coil. There's a coil... it's connected to some sort of a search coil, which you'd have to substitute for an antenna.
But they don't give you any idea on what kind of antenna to use?
No, I haven't finished reading up on it.
I think my cross dipoles would be perfect.
Yeah, there's an antenna that looks like 2 squares. The loop, like the desktop loop antennas. They're at 90 degrees to each other. So, so there's 4 wires coming off the antenna. So there's your 2 feed lines.
Yeah, basically what I already have here. I'm telling you, these cross dipoles would be perfect.
Yay, I'm here. KB2ZVP.
Good evening, Randy.
Hello, Bruce.
How you copy my weak signal?
Oh, let me take a look at you here.
Okay, this is Bruce and Ray talking about goniometer designs from the 1936 period.
Well, your easy copy. I've got about a S7 noise level and you're 10 over S9, so pretty good copy.
Not bad.
What's the antenna you're running tonight?
Just the dipole.
And what's your power?
Let's see, power, 1, 2. Let's see, looks like it's pumping up to, I don't know, close to, wow, I never knew that this gauge goes to 150, but the radio only is rated at 100. I'm peaking maybe at 80 watts or so. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong gauge. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. PEP. About 30 watts. It says. I don't know. That's probably about it.
Well, okay. It's hard, with a peak, even with a peak reading wattmeter to get it all out. But anyway, you're doing a good job here. No
20 over on the capers.
Yeah, how's my signal, Randy?
You're about 12 over S9.
Yeah, okay. The SWR is all wacko on this loop tonight.
What changed?
I don't know. Maybe the wind, the trees took some of it down. I'll have to walk out and see. Let me go over to the vertical. That'll tell the story. This is a loop. This is a vertical. This is a loop. Vertical. Back to the loop. Any difference?
Yeah, probably 15 dB. Your vertical is hard to hear.
Roger. Maybe it's okay. Maybe, I don't know what could have changed, but anyway, carry on. Thanks for the check.
And 3 or more.
Hello, Marcus.
Good evening.
Yeah, it's chilly outside, isn't it?
Yeah, it's heading that way. It's not quite there yet down here.
I was thinking of that today. Hasn't this weather been unusually cold?
Oh yeah, we had frost this morning.
You guys don't know what you're talking about. We're in the middle of a global warming event.
I think the sun's moving further and further away daily. I think we're going to be frozen soon.
You think that's it, Ray? You think the sun's moving away?
Well, according to the Democrats, it should be 130 degrees every day, and I've been freezing my you-know-what off.
Oh, I have to make a comment here. You'll like this one. You ready?
Go ahead.
I just got thrown off that other frequency again.
How could that be possible?
Me and, I forget his name, the one that was on here driving you nuts about QRP the other night, Randy. Me and him were talking about receive antennas, and we got into a conversation up there that lasted longer than 2 or 3 minutes. And we got blasted and said, why don't you take that conversation back to 30 where it belongs?
I knew you were evil.
I stirred it up. I'm sorry.
I love it. I got thrown off a frequency twice.
Hey, Randy.
Yeah.
I vote we don't take him back this time.
He's going to definitely pay his dues this time.
Yeah, I mean, he keeps on going back to that other frequency, and they kick him in the teeth, and then he comes back here with his tail between his legs and expects us to be his friend.
Well, I want to know how they know he was here to begin with.
Oh, they know where I go. Hey, Randy. You're being called, Randy.
Who's calling me?
Oh, this little weak radio from Damascus.
Hey, Chris, I can barely hear you.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the way it is. I was the one that stirred up the trouble up there. I brought up something, and evidently it didn't fly.
Oh, well, that's too bad. I don't know where you were, even.
Don't tell him. We'll leave it go. Let's just say that it required a higher pay grade. Let's just say that.
What were you on, 75 meters?
No, it was on this band. But anyway, moving right along. So, what did we miss? What's the topic?
I want to know what frequency it is so I can go up and congratulate them.
No. Don't scratch in the litter box.
It must be 1970.
1855.
No, they would welcome that conversation. Those guys are intelligent. Hello, Joe.
Hey, K2ICH.
Evening.
So, Joe, did you put down your money yet for your new radio?
No, I'm saving it.
Okay, which one are you going to buy, the Kenwood or the Yaesu?
I really got to look at them side by side.
Yeah, I think you'd buy the Kenwood.
There's one for sale on, I don't know, QRZ or EHAM.
Yeah, we heard for a little over $3,000.
I've had Kenwoods and Yaesus, and I can't complain about either one of them.
Yeah, no, you've had a very good run with that radio you're on now. So I mean, hell, you shouldn't really complain about it. It's right. But it's time. It's time for a really state-of-the-art new radio.
The 101.
Figured out why my loop wasn't working last night.
Somebody snuck up and replaced the copper with steel?
No, not that loop. The log.
Oh, how come?
It fixed the connection I made when I added more wire to it came undone.
Boy, you must have done a really stellar job.
Yeah, it was kind of a crappy job. It was quick. But anyway, they don't work so well when there's not a complete loop.
We need to know what frequency you got kicked off of so we know how far you fell.
No, I'm not going to give that and make you guys go up there and drive them nuts. They're a bunch of old geezers, and they're stuck in their ways. Leave them be, they're fine.
How old are they?
They're very close to the waiting to die frequency.
Oh, my God.
So do they talk about anything else but like not eating gluten and their visiting nurse?
No, they're not quite that bad yet, but yeah, they got bad joints, and they got diabetes, and they got doctor's visits, and they got cats that they don't need, and
Fishers?
They better start reading the Wheat Belly book.
They're not even, Ray, just let it go, all right? They're not even to that level. They're not going to go there. That's like voodoo. It isn't happening.
Well, what would you go there for, Mark? To antagonize them?
Not really. There just wasn't much activity here, and somebody was there, and, I'm an attention hog, so.
I see. You sort of wandered there.
Probably tried to talk him into Metamucil.
It would have been all okay had we not got into a complicated conversation about receive antennas. Once we went to the forum, we were done.
Hey, you don't need Metamucil ever if you get rid of the wheat.
That's right.
So, Mark, why did you let them throw you off?
Well, because I was hogging the frequency. I've got this big, massive, manly signal that nobody can get over, so, I mean, as long as I'm talking and we're having a conversation, everybody else has to stand by.
Exactly right. Just say, no, I don't want to go there. I'll stay here for a minute.
That's just being rude.
Doesn't seem to have that stainless steely sound anymore for some reason.
Yeah, I've kind of been told that.
It's like you went to boot camp and got a big signal and wandered back to the old stomping grounds.
Yeah, when you're borrowing somebody else's litter box, you don't sit there and sit in the box and take your time, because other cats have to use it.
I was surprised how mad they got so fast.
Well, this has happened before, so it just kind of brought up old flames.
I'm not aware of it, that's why.
Yeah. The problem wasn't you. The problem was me.
So you can't have a conversation about anything you want to have. You got to have a conversation about what they want to hear.
Yeah, it sounds like Mark the other night.
Oh, man, I got to go up there and talk about my aches and pains.
Oh, you'd fit right in, but you'd have to act the age. You can't be acting like you are now.
I can do that, and I'll go QRP.
Oh, and you have to be a bitter Democrat, too.
Oh, I know where you are.
Ah, now it comes out.
A bitter... I like that. That's funny.
You know, I was talking to a guy in here last night, and he appears to be he doesn't like Trump, and he must. Well, I don't think he's a Democrat because I think he's an independent. But you know, I forgot to tell him. Have you looked at L.A. lately? Have you looked at downtown L.A. lately? That's all you have to do is look at that, and then tell me why you'd ever want to vote for the Democrats.
To get free stuff.
Has anybody seen that downtown section of L.A. lately, with it's wall-to-wall tents, filth, dirt, all kinds of? Now they're starting to get into the third world diseases.
You know, they actually sued the state of California and won a suit. The homeless people did.
Well, that's just wonderful because Trump is smart enough to be sending them all there.
They've got typhoid. They got typhoid fever now.
Yeah,
Typhus.
one of them typhoid. They're going to end up with polio. They're going to end up with all kinds of crap.
And that's just going to spread all across the country.
It's typhus. It's like a flea-borne type disease. It's not typhoid.
It's crappy no matter what.
It's what they developed a Zyklon B for that they dusted everybody with in the concentration camps. Typhus was taking over half of Germany and Poland during World War II.
And that was what, from mosquito bites?
No, flea bites. I guess it gets spread by fleas. They had so many people in prison camps and concentration camps that was like a perfect incubator for the disease. And when things started falling apart, they were hard pressed to even make bullets and bombs, let alone produce the chemicals required to kill it. So it was a bad thing.
Isn't that how the Black Plague spread? From the rats and the fleas on the rats?
Yeah, that was another good one that killed a bunch of people.
Well, what happened with the bubonic plague or the Black Plague was it's an opportunistic disease, and they found weather events that correlated with a lot of those plague periods where people were necessarily compromised. Their immune systems were heavily compromised by poor conditions and starvation. Usually corresponded with volcanic activity in the South Pacific, cooling the temperatures around the planet and causing mass starvation and people not doing so well, and it ran rampant throughout the early and later Middle Ages because of it.
You mean like, if they poison the entire food supply of a nation of people?
No, it was there were some bad years, like back in the 6th century. There was a big volcanic eruption. It cooled the planet considerably, and there was mass starvations throughout Europe. I mean, it was really bad, and that corresponded perfectly with a pretty significant amount of plague years, and it's probably because people were their immune systems were compromised. They just took a double whammy.
You obviously missed the mass conspiratorial plot there.
Oh yeah, anytime people started getting dysentery and sick, they had to have somebody to scapegoat for poisoning the well.
Or if they want to get rid of an entire nation of people, they just poison the food crop and then introduce an interesting opportunistic fund.
Witches.
What was that weak signal?
Witches.
Which weak signal?
No, witches. Anytime anybody ever got sick, they looked for the witches.
Well, they went after everybody that was different. They went after the Jewish people. They went after the Gypsies and the Romas. When they ran out of them, then they had to go after each other, and the only way they could go after each other was to declare somebody a witch, and then it was like open season on whacked people until you either got tired or you ran out of people.
Yeah, now they're going to call them racists and go after them.
The potato famine in Ireland.
Is somebody playing music, or am I hearing things?
You're hearing things.
Okay.
You know, one of these days he's going to smarten up. You know that?
How many times have you told him, Randy?
I don't know, 37. I don't know how many times I got to tell him, but I guess more.
That's it. He's off the net.
Oh, it's all right. I'm getting used to being thrown around.
So, Randy, you got any boxes arriving with goodies?
No, I have. Well, I got one box today, but nothing to do with the antenna. But they did say I've got an email here. Let me check. I think it's tomorrow. I think I have a UPS coming tomorrow. And I ordered a priority mail too. I don't know why. Oh, this is a magnet one. Okay, so I've got some magnets coming. That might be tomorrow. Wednesday, end of day, I'll have the magnets.
There's somebody weak in there. Can you hear him?
Yeah, it was a Victor Mike Sugar. I didn't catch the first part. Very weak.
Yeah, it's just too noisy tonight, bud. Just too noisy. Call us Kilo Bravo 2 Zulu Victor Papa. Drop me an email. My email is good on QRZ. Tell us where you're at and what's happening there. Kilo Bravo 2 Zulu Victor Papa.
Yeah, KB2.
It's a KB2.
Was it KB2 Victor Mike Sugar?
No, I was calling Randy.
You bumped your VFO there, Tim.
I know, I've been working DX. Any difference? No, I didn't find anything, but all the wires, the halyards that lift the loop up were loose, so I don't know. Go ahead.
You're about the same, maybe a little stronger, but it's getting darker, so it would be getting progressively better. But you're 10 over 9, and you were almost 20 over 9 at one point.
Yeah, you're 40 over, but I didn't see any, but the SWR went all to hell for a while. I don't know what happened.
Well, if your antenna's down against trees or something, maybe.
Yeah, maybe something like that. I pulled it back up. It wasn't down that much. 6, 8 inches, a foot, not a whole lot.
Are you guys getting a lot of that wind?
It was windy here all day today.
There's a little breezy here, but nothing significant.
WG2E. 38 mile an hour we had our high wind today. And it says, my UPS choice says I'll have it tomorrow between 11 and 3. And this is the Mauser package.
KB3JZ.
WA2JID.
KC1RS.
WA2ES.
What a nice evening without lightning for a change.
Yeah,
N1 DBL.
And where are you? W3HHN.
K2ICH.
K1 Mountain Whiskey.
Okay.
It's there in the background. I hear it.
Yeah, the KB3. Where's the KB3 from, Randy? He's not hearing me.
I heard Doc come in, and I also heard Bernie come in. I'm not sure who the 3 was. There's a lot of people came in all at once. Hello, Doc. Hello, Bernie.
Yeah, I just want to talk for a minute, Randy. I got an announcement to make. I maybe I shouldn't even, but I've had a pretty bad couple of weeks here. I lost my wife here.
Yeah, we got it. Stand by, EJZ.
Hi, Randy.
Hi, Doc. Hang on. Everybody stand by a second. I'm not sure if you're not hearing Bernie, but everybody's talking when Bernie is. Bernie, you lost your wife. She passed?
Yeah, this is the first time I've been on the radio in a couple of weeks. My son's here with me, so we're just, we're going to listen here, but I just thought I'd let you know. I'm glad it's all over for her, but it's been a tough couple of weeks. Anyway, we're trying to get through it.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I know she was really, really sick, so it's probably for the better for her. I hate to say that, you know, but yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like she was not doing very well. So sorry for you and your son. I mean, at least you guys are there together.
Yeah, we're doing some parent-son bonding, and he doesn't know anything about radio, so I'm giving him a a little crash course here. And of course, he got in here with a bunch of I don't know what I want to call you guys, but anyway, we're just going to listen here for a while. And thanks for. But you're absolutely right. She suffered for a long time, and it's been on for a long time, and it's over now, and I'm trying to deal with that. But I thought it would be longer before this happened. Anyway, I'm just going to listen here. I just thought I'd let you know. WA2JID.
Okay, Bernie. Well, our very best to you and your son. Really sorry to hear that you lost your wife. That's you guys were married a long time, right?
54 years. I met her in high school.
Man, oh man, 54 years. Well, God bless you. I'm sorry. Really sorry, truly sorry. And yeah, check in anytime. We're here.
Yeah, okay. We're just going to be listening around. I'm trying to give him a little demonstration here, and I got the Flex radio going, so I think it's a little bit over his head, but I'm trying to educate him.
Well, don't go anywhere else and listen, because he's going to get bored awfully fast if you leave here.
Boy, you got that right.
Yeah, and you got some world-class rabble-rousers on this frequency, so the entertainment factor's there.
W2MUR.
Speaking of rabble-rousers, hi, Mike.
What's going on? You guys, I heard you. Do you need some entertainment?
Hello, Doc.
Hello, Randy. Hey, that foot switch is almost done.
Hey, Doc, how you doing?
Hey, Jerry. I'm doing pretty good.
Is everybody doing good? What's going on tonight, Randy? Any technical developments?
I got half my loop up higher.
Well, Ray's been causing a little trouble. And well, that's nothing new. And Mark's got thrown off another net. Well, that's nothing new. No, everything's about par for the course.
It's very unusual for Ray to be rabble-rousing, you know, and causing trouble. I mean, it's unusual. Very unlike Ray.
I have something new.
What's going on, Carl?
Hello, Mike. I had today a real nice visit over at Mike, WB2TTV's place. And I got a tour through the laboratory and the Radio Shack, and I was mightily impressed.
Are you re-inspired?
Oh, absolutely. I asked questions about test equipment and how to do this and how to do that, and he showed me antenna design programs and all this stuff that he built. I mean, just wow.
Yeah, he's a neat as a pin kind of guy too, isn't he?
Oh, I was extremely impressed with the neatness and organizations of things, and I'm kind of very much like that myself, so it was just like being at home.
Yeah, I know you are too. I know that's kind of why I said that, because I know that that's how you are. So, anyway, pretty nice place, right? Pretty sophisticated little backroom lab, right?
Oh, absolutely, and all this nice, wonderful test gear, and it's just amazing. I was just I just really got overloaded after a while.
So who did he have on the bench? I mean, what did he have on the bench that he was testing?
He uses an automatic antenna tuner out at the base of his inverted L. And the one that he has been using is only good for 100 watts. So he's got a new one now that's good for 500 watts. But it's got a lot of loss in going through it. So he showed me all these traces and everything on the signal generator of each part of this and what was lost and everything, and he's going to make it better.
Yeah, I guess he's going to have to come up by a factor of 10 and go to 5 kilowatts, right?
Well, he wants to be able to get on with more than 100 watts, you know.
He doesn't have an amplifier?
He does, but his antenna tuner out at his antenna is only good for 100 watts. So he's got a new one that's good for 500 that he's working on making it like really perfect.
What was the most impressive thing you saw?
Oh, it's spectrum analyzers with tracking generators. He's got a Drake TR6. The thing is just mint. It's beautiful. I don't know, the serial number's in the 500s, and the one I had years and years ago was 429.
Wow.
But anyway, it was very informative. It was interesting, and I told him how much we miss him on the net, and he kind of said, well, maybe, you know. So right now, things are disconnected.
So when's he getting to Kenwood?
Oh, I don't know if he's got enough room on the table for another radio.
We got another 7610 bite the dust.
Uh-oh, who's?
The guy on the morning, the road, you know, on the way to work in the morning, I talked to some guys on 3849. This guy, Ricky, against a little bit of advice, bought one, and he received it last Thursday, and today he put it back in a box and sent it back to Gigaparts.
Wow. I would think that they would have that resolved by now, unless it's just old stock.
You know what he probably got? He probably got a reboxed radio.
Well, he lost the display and he lost the receive. The receive itself went out of the rig.
Oh, wow.
Did he return it for repair or return it for good?
He wants to see if they'll refund his money.
Well,
there's one of those.
Tell him the whole story, because I mean, I would love to just throw my 2 cents in, but
it's
not really my story. Just tell him how thoroughly you warned the guy first.
Well, I don't want to get into that on the air, but he had very friendly warnings and chose to ignore it and whatever. So away it went.
Well, you know, I've tried to warn people, and, you know, half of them, it seems like half of them get pissed about it, but this is the perfect example of not listening to people who know better.
It's a real shame, too. By now you would think that, you know, the bugs would have been ironed out. It's just as horrible. I don't know. It really bothers me when somebody, you know, I don't know, just sucks, man. I'd be really. I had that happen with an ICOM 821 back in the 80s, I guess, 90s, I guess. 821H, and it went back 3 times, and they finally gave me a new radio, and I wound up selling it to Dave N1SAG right away.
Is that where you get rid of all your used stuff?
Yeah, he says I didn't sell to him, but I know I did.
Well, maybe he knew how to treat it properly.
Yeah, that's what everybody says when they buy a radio that, you know, has a problem. It had to be something that somebody did. But, or how about this? They just made a junk radio.
Yeah, or maybe the operator just kept the knobs all to the right.
Yeah, God forbid you run your radio at 100 watts. Randy's that got beat all the way around the track every race.
You know, all I can say is it's really a shame that ICOM didn't use their engineering department a little better, because that's really a beautiful radio. It's really a shame they screwed it up as bad as they did.
Mike, is your display getting a little light? It looked to me like that display on the left-hand side was lighter than the one on the right.
That's because the one on the right, the preamps were set differently on each side. Like I was going to send you a video of everything it's set exactly the same, and they're exactly the same. You know, when I'm running in dual mode with two receivers, and I've got, say I got digital select on, and I got it centered, then they're exactly the same. There's no difference.
Do you realize when I say light, I don't mean the signal strength, I'm talking about the display color itself?
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, display.
And the preamps makes the display a different color?
Not a different color, a different intensity. You said one was light, one wasn't. Because when you got preamp 2 on and you got preamp 1 on, preamp 2 is going to be a little brighter because it's got a higher signal-to-noise ratio.
There goes another one.
Another what?
A saucer.
Oh, stop it.
Did it just go by Mike's?
I'm going to get carpal tunnel of the neck if I keep shaking my head like this.
You know, Ray, I had a visit yesterday. You know what it was?
No.
It was a visit of common sense.
Wow, where do you find that anymore?
It's just about as mysterious as UFOs are. Anybody care I got my antenna up higher?
I heard that.
You didn't make any comment.
Hooray!
You didn't say, gee, you're about 10 dB stronger than you were yesterday.
Mark, because that's off, you're off the net.
So, Randy, you understand what I'm saying? I had two receivers running. One had one sensitivity, the other one had another sensitivity.
Got it, Mike.
Okay.
So, Mike, did you change your do? Are you combing your hair back now instead of the fold over?
Nah, yeah. Well, you know, when you get off the golf course, you know, and you get into church, you still got your golf shoes on. You got hat hair. That's the problem.
You know, he looks so different with his hair the other way. I didn't even recognize him.
I look like my son, Donald Jr.
He looks like, I hope they used his current look with his hair slicked back when he put him on the I don't know, what do you think? Throw him on the 50 or throw him on the 20?
No, you should be able to get $1,000 bill again, and he should be on the 1,000.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
What an asshole country we live in. You can't own a $1,000 bill.
Why can't you own a $1,000 bill?
I don't know. You know, 30, 40 years ago, you could go to the bank and you could get a $1,000 bill. Then they stopped producing them, and you technically you're not supposed to own them anymore. I guess if you had one, they'd still cash it in for you, but who the hell knows why? Christ, a $1,000 bill today is like a $100 bill 30 years ago. I don't understand why you can't have a $1,000 bill.
Hey, Ray, you know when they pulled them out of circulation?
It wasn't that. It was what, back in the 70s?
No, in the 30s.
Oh, was it in the 30s? Oh, okay.
Yeah, when they started coming off the gold and silver standard, you're not allowed to have certain numbers of denominations anymore because they got to keep tighter control of the flow and ebb of the invisible currency.
Well, that, and they learned during the Prohibition era that it imposed a burden on people doing illegal stuff. Because, like the drug dealers of today, they got to buy, like, money counting machines and stuff because you can only have $100 bills.
So they learned back in the 20s during Prohibition that they needed to knock down the size of money. Most of those larger denominations were interbank denominations anyway. There wasn't a whole lot of people going out and getting $1,000 notes. The big thing they wanted to avoid was people trying to cash them in for gold, because they were all United States notes. And I think in 1934, maybe sooner, they made it illegal to own gold in any way, shape, or form, short of you having like some special numismatic interest in owning a gold coin or something. But that was one of their semi-communist ways of fixing the Great Depression that dragged on into the 40s.
The New Deal. They sold the whole country out and put it on a fiat. Everybody's going to be dependent on the bankrupt, or dependent on the government. There's supposed to be a chicken in every pot, remember?
I'll bet you there's no gold left in Fort Knox.
There isn't.
It's all in our spaceships.
No, it's all in China.
China.
Remember Jekyll Island.
See? Not everybody's a moron here.
I am, because I'm barefoot.
My mom was just telling me she's reading a book about that, the bankers at Jekyll Island.
Dr. and Jekyll Island.
Yeah, the creature from Jekyll Island.
We lost the war a long time ago, and most of us don't even realize it.
Well, you know why they want to get Jackson off of the $20 bill, right?
Because he had better hair than Trump?
No. Notwithstanding the fact that he was responsible for the death of a lot of Seminole Indians and Cherokee Indians. They basically ran them off the reservations in inhospitable places like Florida and Oklahoma, and a lot of them died along the way. So that was a bad thing. But the other bad thing that he did, which is the primary reason why they want to bump him off the 20, was anti-Bank of the United States. He's paid off the national debt and closed the Bank of the United States and said never again.
Oh, yeah. You can't do that. That's the same thing why they did Kennedy in.
That's the real reason.
Yeah, you can't mess with their money of the New World Order. Oh, excuse me. I can't believe I just said that.
They're monitoring you, Mark. Be very careful.
And you thought they were UFOs. They're actually drones.
Yeah, isn't it funny that Mr. 1,000 Points of Light, and it makes you wonder, where the heck is that rhetoric coming from? Oh yeah, that's right, the Illuminati and the foreign relations people, right? The Council of Foreign Relations, right? Talking code to everybody in his speeches, in addition to, like, read my lips, no new taxes. He happened to be in Dallas, Texas that day, and he was a CIA operative for a long time. So, he was a congressman from Texas when he decided he didn't want to be a covert operative anymore, but he also wanted to get out of that so as to rise above. That was his payment for being involved in being in the right place at the right time.
Not gonna do it. Not prudent at this time.
Oh, you just wait. The darkness that is coming in the near future. Ray, you're going to have plenty of material, brother.
Just don't get those chips on your forehead or your hands.
That's actually all symbolic.
Whatever. I'm avoiding that one.
Good luck with that.
It will be. More than luck. There was a whole town in Sweden that had those chips embedded into their right hand, and they've been running this experiment now for about 5 years.
I thought they were only doing that with dogs in the United States.
Well, no, they do it with dogs, but there was a whole town in Sweden. I read the article that had the chips embedded into their hands. And then there was a company technology company that had their chips embedded into their hands as well, so they could get snacks. They could go up to the snack dispenser during break and lunch, and they could just wave their hand in front of it and it would dispense the snack.
Boy, I'll tell you, it's hard to believe there's any human being on this planet that's that stupid.
Really?
Of course, if you went to the country and said, we're going to put a chip in your hand and then you can get free snacks, 50% of them would be out there doing it.
Actually more.
Oh, yeah. So, actually more. And the more, what was that goofball, the big fat Moore? I can't remember his name, for the MoveOn.com or whatever it was. Yeah, those guys, they don't care. I mean, hey, that sounds great, man. Free stuff. And, I'll go through that experiment. Not a problem.
Oh, that's all Obama got in is free phones. Obama phones. I got one.
Not for anything free. All you have to say is the chip's going to connect to
get my video, Randy.
Phone, and they'll be all, all for it.
Anybody hearing that?
I don't know. It just seems like everybody's signal's pretty low to me tonight.
No, you're not. You're right up there where you belong, Ray. First time in 6 weeks.
Yeah, same with you. You're up to 20 over 9.
You're like 35 over 9 here, Mark.
Oh, is that all? You're fired, Ray.
Mark is 20 over, and you were also, Mark, by the way, 20 over on 60 earlier today.
Hey, where's 2D?
He's off tonight. He's not feeling well. He's got a pretty good fever.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
He emailed me this morning asking me a question, and I got right back to him, and I didn't hear from him, so he must have just come down with that.
Well, Ray had him out in the rain for like a week straight.
I didn't want to say that, but I'm glad you did bring that up, Carl.
What about those 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, 2-mile run?
Oh, that too.
Whatever doesn't kill you
makes you stronger.
So tell us the story, Ray. Why did you have 2D up in the rain for how many, whatever days?
He was getting behind on his antenna work.
He was getting behind on his antenna work?
Yes.
So you were cracking the whip and getting him going?
That's correct.
Okay.
Hey, what's he going to do with that side of beef that he's been punching there in his garage for the last couple of days? Are we going to cook that up for the summit?
That was a pretty good double.
I'm going to hit the head. I'll be back.
Don't hit your head. Be careful, man. You hit your head, that means we're going to have to call Life Alert.
Anybody checking the prices on that service? It's expensive.
Yeah, I was checking on that for my dad. I think it runs like about $29 a month.
That's it?
Something like that, yeah. I mean, and you get the free Life Alert thing. And I mean, to me, I'd rather put a cell phone in his car. So that way I can do Find a Friend. I can track him in his car, and then put a cell phone in his house. So that when I call him, if he doesn't answer that cell phone, then I know there's an issue. Well, yeah, I know, but the problem is the cell phones and old men just don't mix. Old men in the sense of above 85. So they forget to charge it. They forget they leave it in the kitchen when they're upstairs. It's just absolutely worthless to them. So I'm really thinking maybe not now, maybe in a couple of years I'm going to give him a Life Alert thing he can wear around his neck.
Imagine what Ray would be like if he had a cell phone.
Randy, did you get my video?
Probably. I don't have my phone with me.
Oh, okay. You didn't.
He left it upstairs.
I sent you some empirical data.
Well, Well, I know how the radio works. I was just talking about the black part of it, not the. I know how. If you're on your primary, whatever receiver you're on, that one's engaged. I understand how that works.
Yeah, no. What I did is I set them up equally, both with pre-select off, and they're both identical.
Yeah, but how about the black part of the display?
Black part of the display looked identical. I mean, I didn't notice any difference. And I thought the problem was down on the menu bar, the menu one bar. Wasn't that the problem where the left side goes bad or the right side goes bad? I can't remember. I haven't seen any. I've been looking for it, but I haven't seen any issues.
Don't talk about it. You'll hex yourself.
I know. Jeez. I'll be back. I got to get some tea. W2MUR.
W2KRY at the top.
It's getting close to Thursday.
And WG2E. We had some nice chat today with Mike about that wonderful oscilloscope I have.
Oh, there you go. Why, what's Thursday?
Isn't that when he sends back your radio?
Maybe. I don't know. Let's just say there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, all right, well, whatever.
K1 DSK.
Hi, Devin. Let's just say Tokyo's now involved.
Uh-oh. Bum, 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 bum.
Your radio, Rob. Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
Oh, my God.
This isn't turning into a bad thing, is it?
Hey, Devin.
Hey, hello, Mike. I got a question for KRY. What is this overshot business with 101?
Oh, there's a little anomaly that everybody's losing their minds about. It's a definite thing, but a lot of people. Right now it's Bigfoot is what it is. There's this story that it blew up an amp somewhere, and Yazoo in California says they have heard about this, and apparently it's only happened to a really extremely sensitive, Italian amp. I think it's an expert amp, but no one's been able to verify it. So it's like a Bigfoot. Yazoo won't say too much about it, and we're not. They will offer a fix. They said they know about it, and you can have your radio fixed at the depot level. It's resoldering some, I think, resistors. You got to remove them and replace them. But other than that, there's the whole story.
I think the flux capacitor was out of specification. It was a parasitic anomalytic oscillation interloper.
So is that anomaly only when you key up the amp? If you put a delay of 30 seconds or 50 milliseconds, would you still see it?
Yeah, it's coming out of the radio.
But is it continuous or just a spike once?
I can't answer that. Honestly, I don't know. We've got screenshots of meters capturing it going a little above what it's supposed to be.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Because most modern radios have the delay. So if it's an initial spike, that can easily be controlled. But if it's a continuous or random spike, that's a more serious issue.
Was it a repeatable thing, Randy?
yes.
Yeah, some of them, they're reporting 185 watts output power when it's set for 30. So that's pretty significant. And that's not controlled by the delay. The delay will control the output of the radio for a few seconds, but then once the radio puts out power, if it puts out 180 watts, that's quite a lot.
Wow.
Oh, my question was, if it's a spike, initial spike, you can control by delay, but if it's random or continuous, of course, radio can't control it. Yep, I agree.
The only way I'd notice it if I had it set for 185 watts and it put out 30.
Well, you better have a heck of a grid protection circuit on your amp for that one.
I'd be on the phone with those guys. Hey, how do you keep this thing up to 185 watts?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it because I got the Quadra, and it's only with some finicky Italian amps that have a super sensitive protection system. These guys at Yaesu built the Quadra, hear that, knock on wood, fairly idiot-proof and bulletproof. So I've tried a couple times, and it tells me no.
Well, the Expert Linear, I have a 1.3 KFA. That is a very good protection circuit. Anytime the voltage slightly goes over, it just shuts off or reset.
Yeah, so that's what we done. I can't figure out whether it just popped a fuse, popped a relay. They were able to reset it. Whether some people are losing their minds on these boards and saying that it completely blew it up and smoke left out, and it's crazy.
Well, let's face it, the Italian amps are very sensitive, like the Italian people.
They're very emotional.
Yeah, luckily we don't have any finicky, sensitive Italian people on our net, right, Randy?
Absolutely. You're picking up what I'm laying down, I see. Yeah.
Thank goodness. Hey, Mike.
Yes.
You built the little log antenna there, right?
Yes, I did.
What size wire did you use?
14 gauge.
14. I read that a couple times and maybe I missed it. Does it recommend a wire size, or is it infinitesimally? I mean, can I use a 26? Can I use a 30? As long as it's conductive, does it matter how thin it is?
Well, I think that was regarding the isolation transformer. They were recommending small wire.
That's just so you can get it through the binocular ferrites. But the antenna itself, do you think it matters?
I don't think it does. If anybody else has another opinion, I'll defer to them. But, yeah, I don't think it does. I just happen to have a 500-foot roll of 14-gauge wire that I was going to redo my dipole with, and that I never did, never needed to. And I used that for the 120-foot overall length of the loop, 30-foot aside.
So did I.
Well, in the beverage antenna handbook, and I know these aren't beverages, but there is a correlation between wire diameter, height above ground, wavelength or fractions of a wavelength, and all that controls the velocity factor and stuff. So it might make a difference, but I would doubt it unless you're using like number 36 magnet wire or something.
Well, I know that the article that Randy sent me, or whoever sent Randy that article, the article, I built it to the parameter of that article. But honestly, I would really like to, like I think Carl was saying too, I'd like to try a real beverage antenna, where it's 8 foot off the ground and just experience that. Even though I'm not sure if I would do that, but I mean, I like the log. The log seems to be very quiet and does a great job. But there's some more experimenting that I want to do. And I think Devin sent me an article today that I'd like to read over too.
All right, thanks. I'm just curious. I got a brand new spool of, I think it's 12 gauge here, and it's brand new. I don't want to unspool it, roll it out, and get it all set up just to find out that I got to move it to mow, or I got to do this or that, and but I do have a roll. I think it's 20 or 22 gauge. Remember the old instrument wire from the Air Force, Teflon coated? Got a big spool of that, which would be really no problem. You could just probably just reach up and yank the whole thing in from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, you could use that. I don't see any reason why you couldn't use that. And the 12 gauge would be fine as well. You just got to use those landscaping staples every 4 feet or so.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
I'm in the process of burying my log right now. I got 2 sides buried already.
Yeah, I mean, what are you just slicing into the lawn and just tucking it in?
Roger, Dodger.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to make any difference, but certainly keeps it away from the blades a little more.
No, we'll see if it makes any difference. Devin and I were talking about it, and it's easy enough to do over.
Well, for 120 feet of that, that's a good workout.
Yeah, it is. I do it with the axe, and cut a trench with the axe, and then I use the big grubbing hoe and make it deeper. It takes me about 15 minutes a side.
So I got to say this, everybody, about Tim. So, Tim, how old are you again?
81.
So he's 81 years old. He's out there digging, slicing open his lawn to get the log into the ground. Okay, so guys, remember that. Remember what a real amateur radio operator is, right? I got to give him credit. He's way beyond. I think he goes way beyond what I would do.
Oh, I'm gonna hire him. I'm gonna invite him to dig my trench too.
What the hell else has he got to do? He's old. He's got nothing else to do. Let him go out there and dig around. He's probably not even digging a straight line.
Hey, I got a question for the net.
Guy that you said that would die, Tim. This is a guy that said you would die for him. Oh no, he would die for you. He would give you his life.
Well, I didn't say I didn't like him. I just said that what else is he gonna do?
It's funny, man.
Hey, Mike.
You gotta, Randy bent toes, guys. You gotta be. That's why I love Randy. He keeps us on our toes.
Hey, Randy.
Yeah, Doc.
I forgot who wanted this foot switch, but it's printed.
Mike was looking for a foot switch.
Mike, he made you a foot switch.
Did you make one out of the 3D printer?
Oh, yep, and I used the good Pat G stuff. It's come out really, really nice. I need some hardware yet. I don't have the rubber feet. I have like 4 little rubber feet or something. I just got to find a spring. I've got the micro switch and everything.
Oh my gosh, if you're serious, I'm going to drive over wherever you are and buy you a dinner.
Hey, you know what works real good for burying radials and on-the-ground wires is one of those heavy-duty platform edgers. I used to use one in Florida. It was the only way that you could get through the St. Augustine grass down there. If you can find one, they come in awful handy for burying radials.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Hey, Mike, a pizza with mushrooms and pepperoni, if you share it with us, will work.
I thought you were going to tell me to get some fillets and lobster.
Hey, do any of you older hams recognize the name Hugo Gernsback?
Okay, first of all, before you answer that question, who here is not an older ham?
I recognize it.
What's the cutoff age for older?
Well, I just figured somebody that just got into the hobby might not know this name. Well, I found something really interesting today. I bought at a ham fest a bunch of old books, and they're from, I don't know, like the 40s and stuff, with radar and radio and things. And I was going through cleaning out some stuff today, and out in the middle of one of these books fell this little pamphlet and it's called Gernsback's Educational Library number 4, all about aerials, and it's 10 cents, and it was printed in 1938.
Wow.
I'm gonna bring it to the summit so everybody can check it out.
I'm sad now.
That's cool. Gernsback was a publisher back then.
Yeah, science fiction and stuff too.
Yeah. He got the wireless bug, and he rode that wave.
Well, it's got all these things about putting up antennas at your house for broadcast reception, and they're showing a picture of an antenna between two houses, and the one house is called the friendly neighbor.
Yeah. Find one today, they'll let you hang your aerial from his peak.
The friendly neighbors were plentiful then because radio was so new.
Well, they wanted to come over and listen.
Yeah, well, this is kind of neat. So, I'll bring it along.
So, my father told me today, I visited him for a few minutes, and he said he was 8 years old in 1941, and he was listening to the Jack Benny show, and Jack Benny had some kind of a sidekick. I can't remember who it was. And he loved him. He's 8 years old listening to the radio. And then we interrupt this program to bring you a special announcement. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor. And, as an 8-year-old kid, he was so mad that this announcement was ruining the Jack Benny show.
W2KRY.
KB2ZVP.
WG2E.
WA2E.
KC1RS.
K81 Mountain Whiskey, the weak one.
W2MUR.
PM. Hi, Bruce. Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Howdy. Who's that?
Tim?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good.
How's good Mike doing?
Hanging in there.
You're back.
I was never gone.
You didn't go to Kansas?
Joanne did.
Oh, I thought that was you out there flying around.
Not me. I took her to the airport. I was in Mark's backyard.
Did you stop over and spy on him?
I tried, but I couldn't find his place.
So, Randy.
Yes, Randy.
One more stupid question about the log there. I know from the transformer coming in, they're using the 75 ohm cable.
Right, the RG6.
Yeah. What does most people have on the back of their radio for a receive antenna fitting?
BNC. Yeah, BNC. Some have an F, actually an F connector.
BNC for me.
Or RCA.
Yeah, that's what I got, an RCA. So is that why they're using the 75 ohm? Because it's easy to put a BNC on there? I don't know. I could probably jerry-rig one up from an RCA to a 75 ohm cable, but I don't know if there's any other option there or what.
You can buy the crimp-on ones that use the same crimping tool as the F and BNC connectors for the RG6.
They have F adapters, F to RCA adapters you can buy on Amazon.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of ways of, there's a UG176 that'll adapt those for like PL259s and everything. Unless they've got that wire on them.
So you're really supposed to use the 75 ohm?
I don't think you need to. I mean, I think you can use anything between 50 ohms to 75 ohms. So if you wanted to use it's expensive, but if it's a short run, you could use, if you have a spare roll of LMR 400, you could use that. That's not a problem.
That's what I'm using, the LMR 400.
You probably, if it's a really, really long run, you don't want to use some kind of crappy RG58. So you'd probably want to go with RG8X or something, which is the same diameter as the 6. So the 6 is like way super cheap in comparison. So you don't want to be using like LMR 240 or anything like that. You can work a lot of money into your receive system that, you could be spent better elsewhere, like at a bar.
You can get the RG6 in a quad shield as well.
Right, that's what they recommend, the quad shield.
I guess I'm asking if it needs to be coax, period.
Yes, it's got to be some form of coax.
All right, so you can't do a twin lead like a balance line coming into a tuner?
I'm not saying you can't, but the article did not suggest that.
But it didn't say not to do it either.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at, like when I swept it with my antenna analyzer, when I, beyond the balun, okay, so directly to the loop, I came up with 230 ohms, almost 240 ohms of impedance, and so a 4-to-1 balun will work very well. So from the 4-to-1 balun, you've got to have, you really need to have a good quality coax, a shielded cable of some kind that would run anywhere between 50 to 75 ohms.
Yeah, I guess you control that by winds on the ferrite.
Yeah, I mean, like in my case, when I swept it, and it was 30 foot aside, 120 feet overall, and so a 4-to-1 balun would be appropriate for that. So, but if you went 15 ohms aside, and I think that's where he was going with the article. He was using a 9-to-1 balun, so I'm assuming that a 9-to-1 balun would be more appropriate for an overall length of 60 feet, 15 foot aside. I'm assuming that's a big assumption, but I'm just going by, what he was talking about in the article, because he really never mentioned 30 foot aside, only twice in the article, once in the middle and almost like a footnote, and once at the end. But most of his discussion was relative to 15 foot aside.
Yeah, I noticed that, but he said that for the lower bands, the 30 might work better.
Right. So, but, again, his discussion was linked to the 15, and the 9-to-1 balun was, I'm just logically deducing that it was linked to the 15 aside, total 60 feet. But, for me, 4-to-1 seems perfect.
Hey, I got an extra balun if somebody's interested.
Well, you keep saying balance, but it's not really a balun you want. You want an RF transformer. A balun balances unbalanced and balanced, where a transformer performs impedance matching, right?
Yeah, I got an extra isolation transformer if anybody wants it.
Yeah, an isolation transformer. I'm sorry if I said balun, I was incorrect. It's an isolation transformer.
Okay, cool.
And as with all Toad Harbor technical advice, your mileage may vary.
Roger.
It's all relative to your setup, your location, and all that. But I don't know, Carl. How are you making out with your log? Is it worth doing, or I mean, you've had it now for a week, right?
Yeah, pretty much so. I'm still not entirely sure that it was as good as my 210-foot bog.
Well, honestly, I had a 230-foot bog on the ground. Yeah, bog on the ground. Beverage on the ground, and to me, it was excellent in cutting out the static, the lightning crashes. Excellent. But the log is very good as well, but so far I have not really found a lot of situations where it was picking up the weak signals. I haven't heard a lot of weak signals that it was bringing in. I'll be very honest with you. And I did not hear that on the bog as well. But it might be just the way that I have it positioned. That's why I'm saying that I think a true beverage antenna which is, a few feet, 4 to 8 feet off the ground, is probably the one that really works pulling the weak signals in.
Yeah, I might get around to trying that. Well, hey, the log and the bog, they're just so quick and easy. You can pick it up, move it somewhere else, and rotate it a little bit, whatever. So I'm still playing.
Exactly. Because, who wants to put 8-foot stakes up, all the way out to really, when you do a beverage antenna, I think, what is it, 500 feet, right?
So if you go northeast, southwest, you got 1,000, you got 2,000 feet out there. You got to have an area of 2,000 feet in each direction.
I like the 1,000-foot beverage.
Right. But there's a tremendous amount of work.
It has to be 2 wavelengths or it's not a beverage, from what I understand.
That's true. It has to be 2 wavelengths.
Yeah, so it's 2,000 feet in each direction.
Oh, you could go with T-posts. They're pretty sturdy, but they're expensive. They're not. It depends on the kind of soil you got too. They do got those nice ways of hammering them in. They got that tool with the Tractor Supply, but boy, that's a lot of T-posts, man. Wow.
Mine are just tied to the tree. My beverage.
You could always tie it above a guardrail if your road has guardrails on it. You could just tie it off of those.
You can't make too many excursions off of being it very straight, though. Correct?
Why not?
My reading there in the book would have it try to be as straight as possible.
What's an excursion?
I don't know, if you went off 5 or 6 feet off of being straight and then back to being on that line again?
No, that's fine.
No, and yeah, from what I've read, Carl, that as long as you're the same amount of distance off the ground, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, you just got to avoid like really sharp right angle turns and stuff. But if it's a mild deviation, zigzagging around's not going to make that much difference. But if you make a right-hand turn and go for 200 or 300 feet, and make another right-hand turn, yeah, that might kind of bog things down a little bit.
That's how the guy figured out loop antenna on the ground.
Look, I'll take a look at it again.
You can jig and jag a few feet, no problem. Yeah, I've just tied mine to the trees.
Aren't you picking up tree noise?
What is tree noise?
It sounds like static.
You mean the tree spirits or what?
That's right.
Bruce can tell you all about the root systems of trees.
Yeah, Bruce will tell you all about how easy it is to work on trees.
Yeah, you need a 1,000-year-old redwood root system to really make it kick in.
Did you ever tell that story to Tim, Bruce?
I don't think so, because I think I haven't heard Tim's voice until recently here. So here's the story, if my weak signal can make it. I was in Northern California in a valley in a redwood forest that was old-growth redwood that had been cut 100 years ago. But there's sucker growth coming up from the old-growth root systems, and so there's 150-foot redwoods, circles of them around the memorial of an old redwood that was sawn down years ago. And I was camped out there, no power, couldn't hear any AM radio stations on the camper radio, so I hooked the HF rig up to my whip that I had on the back of the MDU, which is the mobile dwelling unit, and I could receive some AM stations very weakly, but then I plugged it into the tree. I nailed a spike into the redwood about a foot up from the ground and connected to that spike, and all the signals came alive. I could hear AM radio broadcast stations. And then I tuned one of my resonant transformers to the hand band, the 160-meter ham band, that was sharply tuned to connect the output of that, which is the bottom of it, and the free end's up in the air, of course. And with a primary, two-turn primary around that transformer, hooked it up to the HF receiver. I was listening to ham radio stations on 160 up and down the West Coast. So you can get signals out of the earth when you tap into the trees.
Yeah, I saw that in an Army manual. And it also had inverted L's, but they had put a big spike in the tree, and it makes a pretty good antenna if you get the spike in far enough.
Hey, Bruce.
Hello.
I think you sent me like an old military diagram of that too, didn't you? A long time ago.
No, I don't think it was me.
Yeah, that somebody sent it. That was really interesting.
Well, years ago, in the early days of wireless, I forget the guy's name, but there was a name attributed to it. Harris, maybe? No, I don't know. He had underground antennas to receive foreign broadcasts. He buried wires underground, for long distances, and he could get static-free reception of foreign broadcast stations. And then there's a ham I know out on the West Coast who has done work burying dipole-type arrangements underground and worked a lot of stations on 40 meters. KD1 Mountain Whiskey.
Yeah, my log is soon going to be completely underground. It's half underground right now.
Insulated wire, Tim, and how deep?
Oh, it's not deep. It's just a couple of inches.
Yeah, okay.
I would love to bury my dipole just for the fun of it to see what would happen.
No, they work. I've done it before, and the guy at the other end had one underground. We worked underground antenna to underground antenna. He was close, 100 miles away.
Well,
I lived on the canal when I lived in Florida, and I took some twin lead. Actually, it was just basically speaker wire, and I put like a 470 ohm resistor on the end, taped it all up. I threw it in a canal. It was like 200 feet long, and I could listen to beacons all up and down the East Coast during the daytime, totally noise free. I think the best catch was Rhode Island Voice Weather. I don't think they're even on the air anymore, but that was from Rhode Island to Florida, and that was like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Did you catch any fish on that?
No. I hung a few hooks off of it, but they just weren't interested.
Man, it's quiet tonight.
Not so much here.
Quiet in what way? No static or what?
Yeah, here. I mean, I've got an S8 noise level on my dipole, and the loop on the ground is just dead stick, like less than S1.
Yeah, my log is probably S7, something like that, static.
That's about where mine is, too, and I seem to remember my bog being much quieter.
Hey, 45 over.
Who's 45 over?
Not you.
Not me, but Carl?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're almost 40 here. That's because you created a monster.
Well, you're giving me 45. I should be giving you at least 45 because your S meter's more generous.
You're normally 38, so you're running up about 30 tonight, Ray. You have to give me a little more test.
The very best you ever were, Ray, was last year before you changed your antenna when you had the cross dipoles before this set.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Well, what am I right now to you, Carl? Because you're up over 40. I should be over 40.
You just hit 40 that time.
Yeah, you did here too.
Okay.
Well, he's right, Ray, because normally I used to get you at 40 or 45 over, and you didn't even have to punch it. And now you're like around 35 over, and you hit 45 once in a while on a peak. So you're down a little bit to me, but that, you may be up for everybody else. And yeah, Carl's jamming down here 35 over.
Ray, are you moving away from the mic sometimes? Because you do vary from like about 25 to 40 over, which is quite a variation.
No, it's the band conditions. Yeah, everybody's is going way up and down. Everybody's pretty strong here tonight, though. I mean, pretty darn strong.
The bands have been all over the place. I mean, I know earlier the upper bands, the higher bands have been really quiet. Everybody's talking about how bad they are. Matter of fact, I was on 80 meters today on the way home listening, and Al on 69, who always has a great signal, I could barely hear him, and he's never weak. But it's just the bands have not been very good.
50 over on that one.
Well, Russ, you were hitting better than 40 over on that transmission, but you kept on talking, and then you went back down. But, I mean, usually the S meter on this radio is less than most of the ICOMs.
Ray, you are 35 over on the Anon DBM.
Yeah, and you're 20 over.
Hey, Devin, on those dipole reflectors?
So are they parallel to the dipole, or they circle?
On those dipole reflectors?
Yes, are those radials or those lying underneath parallel to the dipole?
Oh, no, I'm talking about the regular reflector about 5 feet off the ground.
He wasn't talking to you about that. That was, I think that was, Mike or Carl?
We've been emailing back and forth, Randy.
Oh, okay.
And Devin modeled it. He said it doesn't help to have a reflector. But I've used them. I've talked to guys that used them, and they claim they help. Go ahead.
Well, it depends on how far it is. If reflector for 160 meter, your antenna is 30 feet high, a reflector is not going to help.
I'm talking 60 feet.
Wavelength, so about 60, 70 feet high antenna, the reflector might help.
Yeah, that's right. I'm talking 60 feet.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you that 140 meter antenna you sent me, the one that's where the it looks like reflector piece is 21 feet under the top hat?
Roger.
Yeah, that thing's got a heck of a nice pattern on it, and it's got a lot of gain. It's just finicky. That thing's got a lot of promise. That's like 8.5 dBi of gain. That ain't half bad.
I got it out of Antenna Physics. It's an extended double zip with 2 reflectors over.
Hey, Russ.
What's going on, Devin?
The 8.5 dBi gain, is that over space or over a dipole? The dipole itself has a 8.5 dBi gain. The dipole, close to Earth.
Yeah, aren't they relative to isotropic, though?
Well, that's what dBi means.
Is the one thing, and the dipole in space is another thing, and real dipoles, 30, 40, 50 feet, they have, compared to isotropic space, they have 8.5 dBi gain. So your standard dipole is 8.5 dBi. So anything above that is real gain.
I thought it was only like 2.4 or something.
At 2.4 in space. If dipole in space is 2.4 dBi, real dipole on 30, 40 feet high is 8.5 dBi.
Well, this one he sent me the plans to is working about as good as they can work, because most of them that I play around with that are gimmicky, they're not producing that kind of gain. Usually like I'm fighting as hard as I can to get them even close to that.
Russ, I'll send you reference for DBI gains on modeling. He had other ones, the Rhombic, which had a 10 or 11 dBi gain. So that was 3 dBi or 4 dBi over dipole.
Think about how cheap a dipole is to make. It's unbelievable. Open wire feed and 240 feet of overall length on a dipole. It's just such a easy, simple, cheap antenna to make.
Yeah, but they got to be the right height. That's the biggie right there, and while they're amenable to multi-banding, ideally there's only a few of them that work really well, and then you got to use twin lead with them. If you play around with any other kind of ways of feeding them in, they don't behave that well.
Last night, 10 meters opened up. I signed off once on the Toad Harbor Network, world famous Toad Harbor Network. Signed off, and I just before I went to bed, I went up to 10 meters, and it was all opened up. So I tuned it up, and I'm easily running about 1,000 watts. So here I'm 160 dipole, and I'm talking to everybody, just 20 over. 15 over, 25, 30 over, big signals, right? And then I went over to 6 meters, and it tuned up on 6 meters. But I noticed that my watt meter, my CN804, every time I modulated, it was actually going backwards. It would go up to the full power, and then it would go down as I modulated, where on the ATR-30 it would modulate fine. So that means that there was something going on with the 801 at 6 meters, maybe a little RF getting into the system or something, but I couldn't believe it tuned up on 6 meters.
Maybe you were on AM, Randy. Just kidding. Your meter will go backwards on modulation on AM sometimes.
Yeah, no, it was the first time I saw it, but I didn't see it. It was working normally. I'm on the Ameritron ATR-30 tuner, but on my Daiwa CN801, it was going backwards. But I did have a QSO on 6 meters, and that was the first time I've done that in a while.
Yeah, that antenna should work great, but have a lot of gain on 6.
It's amazing. Think about it. It's a 160 dipole, and I've had excellent results. Not just tuning up into the thing. Anybody can tune up. I mean, you can tune up into an end-fed antenna, but having excellent results as far as people actually hearing me. So I mean, I think a loop would be better, but a dipole is easier to put up. For me.
Yeah, and there were a lot of people that weren't hearing you too.
I'm sure.
I mean, if you would have had a beam, my point is there are a lot of no's on that antenna. It's mostly off the ends, I think.
Well, no, it's off most of the current's off the feed point and the ends.
Yeah, I mean, the direction of the long wires off the ends.
Yeah,
this is pretty incredible work, Bruce.
The loop really is a full loop for 160. I think is probably the ultimate antenna for all bands, and totally omnidirectional.
Are you there, Bruce? Sent me some pictures of this 1/20th scaled model. A Tesla 1889 Colorado Springs magnifying transmitter, 1/20th scale model. This thing is just amazing.
Yeah, what was Tesla trying to do with that thing?
You have to ask Bruce. He's the Tesla expert.
I know when he turned that on, half of Colorado Springs went dead. It took so much power.
Yeah, I just got back. I was out with Josh here. You got the pictures, Randy?
It's incredible workmanship. That's really something.
There are a pair of them. One's red, one's green.
Hey, Bruce, what was Tesla trying to do with that thing out in Colorado Springs?
His objective was to go out there and study the electrical conditions of the Earth, which is what he evidently did.
Yeah, he was also trying to send electricity through the Earth, right?
Yes, he had devised a scheme to do that.
No wires or anything, send it through the Earth. He was an amazing guy.
Yeah, the Earth was the conductor. Not everybody understands that, but they think it's wireless, but it's a conduction process.
Roger, Dodger. A lot of that stuff he kept secret, too.
Yeah, someone might know about it, but I don't know. We studied his writings, primarily he kept a notebook while he was out there, and it's available. And so we took all the dimensions from that and built these things. There's going to be a lecture given in July with these models present. And it's amazing because we were able to scale it down, and the frequency scaled pretty well too. Kept all the inductances and dimensions to scale, and the ratios sort of kept true right through it. It was a bear to tune. I had to sort of look into the abyss to figure out how to tune the thing, but I think it's pretty close.
So what frequency will it transmit?
Well, it's tuned. We don't want it to transmit. That's why there are a pair of them. We're gonna null out the signal because the 1/20th of the frequency ends up right at the in the middle of the broadcast band. So we don't have privileges to operate there. So we're gonna null out the EM waves by running two of them, one of them out of phase, conjugate to it.
Roger, Dodger. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
This will all be recorded, right? You'll be able to tune into that?
Yeah, there's going to be there'll be pictures, and it yet is to be figured out exactly to demonstrate. It might just be simply some current flowing and some potential differences and showing the magnification, because to get this thing excited to levels where one would ask what has God created here, is going to be the next step. I mean, it's going to take more time than we have to do that, but we'll probably be able to send power from one unit to the other with a single wire. Which is with a single wire would represent the Earth in Tesla's case.
Well, I don't know an awful lot about that stuff, as you know, but I do know about machining and building things, and I'm pretty impressed. I'm looking at this thing pretty carefully, and you did a phenomenally good job.
Well, thank you, Randy. I got a lot of time in it, and there's over 230 parts. All had to be handmade and machined out and to fairly tight tolerances, because it all sort of they had to be built the same because you wanted all the frequencies to fall in. And I'm within like 3 kilohertz from one unit to the other, and I think I can get it a little tighter than that. I've got one thing that's a little out of whack, but yeah, it held pretty good.
The white uprights that you're using to hold the wires, all those notches and like that, is that something that you built, or was that something that you bought?
Oh God, no! I had to build all that stuff. That's just out of sheet Teflon.
I kind of thought maybe you built it. Not that it looks like that, but I'm not sure where you would get something like that. Well, that's great work, man. I'll tell you, that's really good work.
Well, thank you, Randy. Appreciate that. Figured you might appreciate, go dissect it to that level.
Okay, check me out. Going to bed, W3HHN. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you later, Tim. Yeah, good night, Tim. I'm going to check out, too, you guys. Best 73 all around. KB2ZVP.
Good night, Randy.
Yeah, I got to go, too. 7-3s. Tomorrow morning comes early. KD1 Mountain Whiskey.
Good night, Bruce. Night, Tim and Tom. Hello, Randy, 73s.
Hello.
Good night, all. Whoever is leading the net, Bruce, Randy, Tom, Tim, 73.
73, everybody, K2ICH.
73, KC1RS.
Good night, everybody. KC3, KXB.
Hi, Tom.
Howdy.
Any tornadoes or hail damage lately?
Still recovering from the one April 14th.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Hey, Tom, how's your noise level down there tonight, Tom?
Believe it or not, it's relatively quiet, and test units, and looks like we're going to have a frost tonight. It's cold already. It's in the mid-40s.
Yeah, it was very cold here this morning with a wind. So, I mean, I woke up, it was, 49 degrees with a wind. Felt like about 40.
Roger. I guess we got frost warnings here for tonight.
Yeah, my lilac trees started to bloom, and then it got this cold weather, and it kind of killed all the flowers, so it didn't really bloom very, very long.
Roger. Lilacs, being from the country there, we generally planted them around the front porch. That way, when you sit on the front porch, it's very fragrant.
Yeah, I love the smell of lilacs, man. When I was a kid, I used to cut them all down and sell them to old ladies, and they'd buy them.
All right.
Hey, Russ.
Go ahead, Devin.
I sent you a reference, a link to an article that will tell you about the antenna gains over space and modeling it on the ground. Mike and Tim, I sent it to you too.
What, is this an EasyNet?
Yeah, EasyNet.
Appreciate all the work you're doing there, Devin. Thanks for the models.
Yeah, it helps, it saves a lot of legwork, a lot of time, Once you do that, it's not always exact, but it's very close.
Yeah, because I know, for instance, that even if I had a self-standing structure, I probably am not going to go much higher than 40 feet. So based on what you're saying, you got to go up at least 60 feet for a reflector to really be feasible.
Yeah, at least for the lower bands, there has to be height for reflectors to work, either vertical reflector or horizontal reflectors to save the ground. Unless you have a vertical antenna, which is quarter wave, and at the base you put reflectors, which are radials actually.
Yeah, for now I'm pretty happy with the dipole the way it is, even though it's not that high, maybe 30 feet. Like I said, it was 30 feet, 35 at the apex and 45 at the other end. So even if I went with a full loop, it wouldn't be much higher than that.
If you bring it down to 10 feet, you will not see much difference. It's a great NVIS antenna, 20, 30, 40 feet, 10 feet, up to 200, 300 miles. You've got great signal. But it's not good for DX.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of DXing on 40, 20, 15, lots and lots of DX, but, I'd be doing a lot more, that's for sure. I think to really do more repeatable DX and stronger DX, you really need some kind of a steerable beam, hex beam or something like that.
With a reflector. Well, these dipoles, long dipoles, 160-meter dipole, can have a great gain because it has a lot of lobes and nubs. It's like clover leaf or six-leaf pattern. So if you fall on the lobe, you may have 6 or 7 or 9 dB gain. So they, on upper bands, they work really well if you're in the right orientation, but not overall. Of course, hex beam is much better. I have a spare hex beam if somebody needs it. Go ahead.
Oh, really? I've always wanted to experiment with a hex beam. Well, send me an email. Let me know what you want for it, and or maybe I can just experiment with it.
Sure. Okay. Because when my hex beam, in the snow, I had to take it down. In the meantime, somebody was selling a really good one, equally good. So I got that one for a decent price. So I have 2 now. One is sitting in boxes. Other is working hard in the winter and summer. Go ahead.
So if I put a hex beam up 30 feet, was that feasible, or do I have to go higher?
Well, 30 feet is good. 40 feet is better. 50 feet is even better. It's up to one wavelength, half wavelength to one wavelength. You start seeing the angle of takeoff going down. So about 30 feet, you'll be able to work a lot of DX on 20 and other bands. But if you're 50, it'll be much better.
What's the lowest frequency on 20 meters?
Yeah, 20 meter and up to 6 meter. 20, each you can get as many as you want. I have 20, 17, 15, 12, 10, and 6.
Yeah, because I know that, everybody wants to go for height, but there was a lot of articles. I know Larry Sebic did a write-up on the ideal height for like a tri-bander, and he went round and around with some people, and they came up with the 32 feet. They said because you could go higher in some of the bands that work better and other bands not so much, but the most bang for your buck for a 10, 15, and 20 meter tri-bander was like 32 or 33 feet, according to this article that I read.
Well, if you go about 30 feet or 30 or 35 feet on a 20 meter, you'll have a single, let's say, disc type pattern, not a disc, a bowl pattern or a cup. So about 35 degrees, you have all your energy, very good signal. But if you want to do DX, you go up to one wavelength height. The angle of radiation comes down to about 15 degrees. So you can cover far distance. But the price you pay is on the top. There's the NVS type, old lead for the tea pots that when you grab it, another shoot takes off and you lose signal. So there's a compromise. So you have to sort of decide what you want. You want a very strong signal and medium distance, or you want to be able to have a very low takeoff angle and reach far distance. Yeah, I agree with you, but there's a price to pay for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had mine at about 32 feet, and down in Florida I had a Mosley CL33, and there wasn't anybody on the planet I couldn't work with 100 watts of power. Japan, Cook Islands, Australia, it was amazing. Man, it was I still got that beam. I just don't have a tower up. And if I could get a tower in the air, I'd have that antenna up there right away. Because once you have a beam like that, man, you just don't want to go back to wire antennas anymore because you know what you're missing.
Well, just remember, sometimes we give ourselves too much credit. The signal, whether you make a contact with DX station, depends on both antennas. The guys we make contact with generally running 5-element and 100 feet or high. If you call CQ, only people who can hear you are the very strong antennas. So I had this hex beam for about a month at 10 feet. Then I increased the height to 30 feet, kept another month, and then I had 50 feet. The 50 feet signal reception and the transmission beat 30 feet by many, dB units. Yes, they work everywhere, but they work better at 50 feet than 30 feet than 10 feet. Go ahead.
Kilo 2, Alpha Yankee Alpha.
Kilo 2, Alpha Yankee Alpha. Bob, how are you doing?
Hello, Kevin. I was wondering if you could model my rain gutter antenna at 23 feet, 100 feet long, with 2 vertical north and south. Over.
Say that again. 100 feet long. What's the height?
23 feet. It is fed in the middle, and the counterpoise is an open loop of 100 feet of wire. Over.
Counterpoise open loop. Okay, I'll see that. And so when you said rain gutter, is that a counterpoise?
No, the rain gutter is actually better as the driven element.
Oh, that's a 100 feet part?
That is 100 feet, and it is tapped in the middle at 50 feet.
Okay, so that's a bigger diameter of the radiating element. So that will give you a very good bandwidth, I guess. Yeah, okay, let me see if I can do that. The counterpoise loop, and how much is that? I'm sorry, it's tapped in the middle. So you have dipole, is that correct?
No, it's more the T for transmission. The tip is in the middle of the rain gutter, and the other wire for the antenna, the counterpoise, used to be a 100-foot loop, a horizontally deployed 100-foot. So what I did was open that up, and now it's approximately 100 feet of wire, horizontal at 23 feet, and one end is open and floating, and one end is I'm using as a counterpoise. Over.
And how high is the rain gutter?
23 feet.
And how about the loop or the counterpoise? That's on the ground?
23 feet.
I'm sorry. Is the counterpoise also 23 feet?
23 feet high, yes.
Okay. So that's like a dipole. One side being gutter, rain gutter, other side being wire.
Roger, roger. The rain gutter is tapped in the middle. It's like a giant piece.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. All right, thank you. It'll take me a little while, but I'll do that for you. Back to net.
No strain at all. No strain. It's just a casual interest. I can get an amplifier to go with the K3. And of course, as soon as I do that, Velcro comes out with the K4. So I want to see what that does.
Yeah, too many radios, new radio. I'm done with the radios for a while. The Anan, I think, still is the best radio, and I love it. I won't be in the market for radios for next few years.
I have one bit of interest for your research in your idle time while you're resting, which is probably never. There's a solar minimum. They call it a Maunder minimum. And I watched a lecture from a solar physicist. She is a female PhD solar physicist. Her name, the last 4 letters of her name is Kova. That would be Kilo Oscar Victor Alpha, and she gave a very, very interesting talk on Maunder minimum, solar minimum, and she's saying that the upper stratosphere is cooling. Over.
Oh, yes, I'm familiar with her work. She's the one that gives solar weather on QRZ. Sometimes you see that. Yes, she has done some remarkable work. Thank you. I'll look for that particular talk.
That's on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube.
This is K1DSK. Back to net.
All right, guys, I'm jumping out 73s to 1-all, and very interesting discussion tonight. 73s, guys, I really appreciate it. Thanks, Devin, for all your help. W2MUR in Holland, Pat, New York. Take care.
All right, I think I'm going to go too. 10 o'clock, the kids and my niece, my wife are coming home soon. K1DSK, I'll be QRT. 73, everyone.
Yeah, 73, Devin, Mike, everybody. I'm going to cut out, too. It's been a long day for me. And get you guys back in. Let's hope conditions are just as good tomorrow. So I'll catch you guys all later. KC1RS, Claire.
73 from Albany, K82EXP.
if anybody's left, good evening. We'll see you all tomorrow. 73 from WA to AES.